Hello everyone, and welcome to a game between Nili and T90. Now, just in case you don't recognize these players, Nili is an Age of Empires 4 streamer, and T90 is a Facebook streamer. So I think we will expect T90 to go for some very meta play styles here. And Nili, he will take full advantage of playing a game where you can pick your own color, and he has picked cyan. Now, I casted this game on my stream, but I figured it's a pretty interesting game to watch, so I wanted to go back and look at it again. You'll see the advantages of casting Rex is that we don't need to watch all of the pauses. So Nili will be playing as the Byzantines in the western side of the map. He has two front woods, a pond on his back wood, and back-ish golden berries. Kind of expect him to wall across the front. Whereas T90, kind of the same thing. Safe gold, berries a bit more exposed, has a way to wall up the front, in front of the TC. Sometimes when you're towards the corner, you can get a nice wall to the edge of the map, but that's very difficult to defend if you go all the way out there. Could go down here, maybe go for the more potato-styled walls. Nili, I think, kind of clearly uses the edge of the map as his wall. Or isn't that boar no problem? Little little grave markers by the boar over here, indicating dead villagers that go to hunt it. Age of Empires 4 boars probably could use those. Those things are beasts. Anyway, you see Nili going for the Drush before the berries. Better watch out. I can see all the relics with his Burmese bonus. Actually, we'll use the... if I click on... Yeah, we can see... The relics, seeing the relics is nice, but it also tells you where your opponent is, because your opponent doesn't spawn near the relics. So T90 immediately knows Nili is there or there, and guesses right, and comes here. We'll see the Drush. Takes one shot from that TC, and we'll see the two Militia Drush coming out from Alt D. There we go. We see. I like the combined scouting. That's a very cool capture age feature. Anyway, both players sending their two Militia Drush forward. This is the Arabia map styled after King of the Desert 4's Arabia, only there's a couple of green-ish terrains added to it. Really getting a doink on that militia, doink on his scout in return, and the two players will fight. Or not, T90 is going to keep running. And there you go, he turns, gets hits on the scout. The scout's the more valuable thing that you want to hit, and they're just going to fight there. One militia goes down for each player. Zoomed in way too much. And two militias go down for T90, so he just has the scout left. And at first glance, you might think Nili wins, because he has both the scout and the militia alive. But I think it's just so important to have the HP on the scout. I actually prefer how T90 had come out of that Drush with his scout at only that -3 he took from the TC earlier. Pre-militia Drush also... kind of interesting to see on a map where you only have boars instead of the elephants and rhinos. We see Nili didn't actually push any of his 3 deer, whereas T90 pushed one of his. Having 400 food on an elephant as opposed to 340 on a boar basically is the 60 food you need to pay for the cost of that militia in the 3-mil Drush. So T90 does click up a bit earlier, in large part, I think, thanks to that deer he pushed. And he'll be going over to the gold. Nili should be prepared for a range follow-up. That's typically how you follow up Drushes. Although, 2 Militia Drush, you do have the option to go for the scouts. Yeah, your timing is still the same as 22 pop scouts. Only you get those 2 Militia ahead. And we'll see, T90 still has his scout forward, gets up to the Feudal Age, and he's going to run back. So the one thing that T90 has here as an advantage is Nili still has a good 30 seconds, and T90 knows roughly where his scout is, because he saw it scouting around the base. Nili's going to be annoying with that militia, but can't really do much with it. And remember, Nili's scout is on low HP, and this Feudal Age scout already has a speed boost and an attack boost from being in Feudal, and he starts getting the hits right before Nili gets up. Nili not quite reacting in time, and Nili has to run away. Scout fights can be super important in Age of Empires 2 games. as Nili does have a straight line back to his TC, so as long as his scout doesn't need to turn, he'll be okay to get it back in. And will T90 dive under the TC? No, he notices, probably has his range indicator on and turns to the side immediately. See range and skirms from Nili, pretty standard from Byzantines. I don't like that. The Vil can now get some doinks on the scout. You don't kill a villain, you just lose some HP. And meanwhile, range from T90. We'll see Archer Skirm mixture from him. And here's where having the scout alive can be useful, because you're fighting Byzantines and you know they want to go for skirms. The scout can help counter the skirms. Though, 2 lumber camps, pretty standard base. Same thing with T90. You see Nili's already doing fletching. T90 has, 7 farms and is just now putting down the blacksmith. Nili had what looked like 3 farms before his blacksmith. So this is a more aggressive play from Nili. The more farms you put down, the more food you will have collected, but the more you delay your blacksmith. The trade-off of how fast do you put the farms down. Let's see, both players actually doing horse collar as well. Yeah, I don't like that either. He's losing HP on the scout. Unless he gets the Vil somehow, because he has his army coming in, but that Vil should get back to the TC. No, should, unless it pathfinds weird. But yeah, here's the advantage of having the scout. Ooh, he does get the Vil. Scout helps him get a Vil, and scout gets some damage on that skirm. So, 1 Vil for T90, and now he'll have to get back because Nili has the defender's advantage. His reinforcements will arrive right out of those ranges. They won't have to walk across the map. But T90 now has a 1 villager lead. Nili still has his scout, though. And now it's skirmisher time. Both players with fletching. T90 doing the armor. So armor does not actually matter in skirmisher versus skirmisher wars. It only matters when archers get added in along with the skirmishers. Of course, it will protect skirmishers from scouts too, but Nili's scout's on 2 HP. He doesn't have to worry about that just yet. And as the Byzantines, you kind of want to take the skirmisher fight because your skirms are cheaper. So trading equally is still good for you. Look at this, T90. 15 farms at 15 minutes. Nili only at 9 farms. His berries have just run out. His villagers are standing idle. Both players with pretty similar TC idle times.
Okay.
And now it is T90 who will have that defender's advantage. Nili has a couple archers mixed in. So you mix the archers in, they're better at killing villagers, better at dealing with scouts. And oh, speaking of scouts, Nili actually is making a stable for a scouts transition. So the stable can be very good because you can make scouts from it and use the scouts to counter the feudal age skirms. Can also be very bad because those scouts will slow down your castle age time. You see Tristan already has wheelbarrow coming in. And if you look at the way that Eco's set up, he's starting to stockpile that food. He has now 16 farms. He's getting ready to click up to the castle age, and he's getting walled. He knows he can send those villagers to wall and doesn't need to defend them because he's keeping track of Nili's army. He knew it was in the middle of the map. Nili himself also walled all the way across the back of his base. And let's see. Byzantines do get that free town watch, so Nili will know the skirms are there. The skirms also will scout the stable. And when he scouts the stable, he's going to start running the skirms back. He knows he doesn't want to fight scouts when he has only skirms and no archers mixed in. While, oh, T90's trying to put down a market. He might want that market to click up. His resources are almost there. You just need to buy food. Nili could deny it. At the same time, the scouts are going to start jumping the skirms. And that's a weak Vil. She's going to have to run away. This Vil will have to run too. T90 won't get the market up. That'll slightly delay his castle time. Meanwhile, the scouts are trying to pathfind to hit the skirms. You see Nili actually had right-clicked separate skirms with his scouts there. But here comes the spear. Oh, that spear is getting some good pokes on those scouts. He's continuing to get good pokes. And oh no, that spearman just killed 3 scouts.
Okay.
Oh man, that's 1 hero spearman for T90. Some rather bad micro from Nili not noticing that. He might have been trying to deny the market, but anyway, T90 is not too delayed. He's up to the castle age anyway. And now, looking at Nili's resources, we see how those scouts had slowed him down. Right, because he has 2 scouts there. He lost 3 of them there. That's 5 scouts at 80 food each. He'd be up to the castle age now had he not gone for those scout transitions. And the only real advantage he got was being able to delay that market slightly. He probably could have done that without the scouts anyway. Yeah, now Nili's selling the stone, 0 stone, to try to click up just to match T90's uptime. But T90 will be much cleaner without having had to sell any of his stone. Did spend 20 stone on those stone walls, so we'll need to send 2 vills to gather stone should he want a second TC. You'll also need to abandon this wood line. Is the advantage of having that map control now with your army. T90, ooh, there's a hole Nili has overchopped. T90 could get in here. Only has 3 archers and they're low HP. Oh, Nili notices. He's going to wall that up. Shouldn't lose a vill there. And he's going to get away, send some skirms of his own. We see bloodlines and scale barding. T90 using a market to keep Nili's army out. And double stable immediately getting knights out. They only have +1. We see T90 also going for crossbow. Has a good 5 of them left. That crossbow is basically going to mean he can't do +2. And even against Feudal army, doesn't really matter versus the skirms, but against the archers, you still would like to have that +2. Would need either +2 or probably 2 more knights to engage that. Just going to send the knights over and engage or stand there. Looks like he deleted that wall and wants to kill the scout. A little TC that gold in a decent spot. And meanwhile, Nili using the skirms to chase down the crossbows here. And he probably will be using some attack move micro to get away. Or just run away. Run back to his knights and the skirms have to run. Nili's up immediately, does Bodkin. Cues a camel. Byzantines do have access to camels. So there's all the Castle Age upgrades, skirm, bodkin, crossbow, bowsaw. And Nili will be adding in camels. Byzantine camels are cheap, but Nili has none of the upgrades for them, and they do not get bloodlines. Probably will help him win this fight here, though. Full of knights and crossbows in the bottom, he'll have to go clean up. And vill counts are still even. Crossbows will run away. Nili trying to chase down that army, but can't quite get to it. Doing +2 armor. And it'll be 1 TC versus 2 TCs. Vill counts are still even, but this is where having that earlier TC and that earlier Castle Age is going to start paying off for T90. He has a good mass of knights out, and he has the second TC. And he has a siege workshop. Mangonel going to start coming out. I know Nili has been playing a game where you don't need to dodge enemy projectiles, so we'll see how fast he reacts when that Mangonel comes over. Because coming over it is. Will T90 get off a shot here? He will. Oh, and Nili takes it square in the skirms. A lot of them go down, and his army has to retreat. But he still does have the army advantage, 28-8. But T90 is nicely walled. He has the Mangonel in defense, and he has the knights and the TCs defending the key parts of his eco, even putting in a monastery for monks to deal with the camels. Ooh, tries to get another shot, but can't connect. Camels, they're not knights. They can't really dive TCs to kill Mangonels, especially not with any of... especially not when he is lacking the attack upgrades. My knight's running around. Nili adding in his second TC. He's down by 3 vills, so not too bad. Also down by wheelbarrow, though, so that's more like 6 or so vills. Nili has to buy stone to add in the TC. Get that market notification there. But while he's adding his second TC, T90 adding that third TC. Has moved to mine the stone, make up for the stone walling he did at the bottom. Now, palisades themselves do not stop crossbows, but palisades with houses behind them, or palisades with mangonels behind them do. Crossbows could just like stand in the back and shoot the palisades, so that's going to be very slow if they can't get close and all attack at once. Now, could we get a mangonel shot here? I could get a shot on the camels. Oh, nice shot on the camels. Actually takes one of them out. T90 might need to... Oh, I was going to say he needs to delete a wall, but the mangonel doesn't pathfind around it anyway. Knights come in, and... See, these knights are bloodlines, +1/+1. They can deal with these camels, only +1 armor on them. Nili does have the advantage in numbers, but doesn't have the advantage in quality. You know, you can get a big mass of knights. You could potentially take a good fight here. I like how he has the monks out healing. Mangonel can't get another shot there. Starting to get used to paying attention, but he's down now by 11 villagers, adding in his third TC, but it's way outside of his base. T90 already has 3 running. And thanks to how well walled this base is, Nili can't find another angle to attack. The only place he has is this main goal up here, but it's pretty well defended by that TC. And neither player really wants to commit on an engagement. Nili knows if he fights straight up, the knights will probably win, but then T90 does not want to run away from that mangonel. So Nili is just going to get back, keep making a few more camels. As up, we got some T90 farms being added a couple tiles away from the mill right there. All their majesty. Nili running slightly under the TC, but has to get back. He's now doing forging. T90 selling stone, buying food, trying to keep his TCs running. Notably, he does have quite a few villagers. That's 12 on stone. Doing chain barding armor now. He could be looking to get up a castle. He will need map control if he wants to get it forward, but he is moving out. Got 14 knights, 4 monks, and 2 mangonels. Well, he's trying to get some relics, but T90 knows where the relics are. He's paying attention. He would even, even in the fog of war, he'd see it get taken. Not gonna pay attention to his monk there, though. He's just gonna grab it and walk away with it. Now, at that point, that's 19 camels compared to 15, 16 knights. The knights might still be able to win that fight, though. There's so much more upgraded than the camels. Ooh, nice mangonel shots there on the crossbows. Monk's going to get conversions. Nili doesn't have the monks, and he lost a good number of crossbows there on that hill to those mangonel shots. Desperately trying to drop off that relic, adding in his own defensive siege workshop to deal with the mangonels. This is where it gets difficult, though. He doesn't really have a big crossbow mass to defend his mangonels from the knights. Camels can help, but here comes a forward castle from T90. Right outside of Nili's base on that stone. He deletes it and builds it even more aggressive. This is going to force Nili to fight in a position he probably doesn't want to fight. With all those monks, his camels are going to get converted. He needs to dive the mangonels, but camels can't kill them all that well. And he can't really use the crossbows until the mangonels go down. And the knights are just going to clean up the camels there. Knights were fighting, trying to kill the mangonels. Now he has his own mangonel out, but how's he going to keep it alive? Nil dies before the shot lands, but looks like the castle's going to go up. Nili has lost a lot of his army. T90 has both the Vil lead and the army lead. And the castle is up. Another mangonel trying to get a couple shots, but the Expos look like they are now outnumbered by the knights. And Nili is going to get cleaned up. Dropping down. Only 10 army. Could even lose another mangonel. Ooh, just keeps it alive. Trying to move out to the stone, but the knights are there as he runs the Vils. Alright, that is not going to be good for Nili. T90 with a huge villager lead, 97 to 65. And now he's going to start mining Nili's stone. Start taking Nili's relic. Probably killed another monk with a relic there. Oh no, he's got knights in at the bottom. He's raiding the farms. Nili wasn't walled fully. And I think T90, with that big push, just managed to take this game. See, Nili still does have that little clandestine TC in the western corner. T90 adding in some barracks. That'll be for some pikes to deal with the camels. And he's going to start mangonelling down that TC. There's the pikeman upgrade, and there are a few more barracks. Knight's even getting healed. It's herbal medicine time almost. Put him in that castle. And 4th TC being added. Doesn't feel like he has enough of an eco lead, going for even more. Now, Nili desperately, he wants to throw up one of those castles. Byzantine castles do have a lot of HP. See, Burmese monks do have cheap redemption. T90 could opt for converting the mangonels. Does have sanctity on the monks. See, Nili's going to take one more fight. Has the monk trying to get the conversions. Has his camels in there. Off to a decent start. But can't push the monks. T90 even gets a conversion. Now the pikes are coming in. Not really enough crossbow to deal with the pikes. Down goes the mangonel. Down go the camels. And now the knights can just raid as Nili's down to 11 army, has nothing to defend himself. And there is the GG. So pretty similar openings from both players. Nili tried to make the scout transition to kill the skirms, but lost a lot of his scouts that didn't kill the skirms, and wasn't able to do anything with that extra military investment. T90 still was up first, was walled, got his eco running, and then just had a stronger army composition. I really do question the usefulness of Byzantine camels. I've seen them a few times, and I've never really seen them work out. Yeah, we see a much better KD for a T90 there. Much better eco, too. Good castle time difference there as well. Probably he's been maybe a bit more in tune with the changes to the pre-mill Drush in the meta. But anyway, I thought that'd be a fun game to look over. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.